Now let's go into random variables. So in any experiment of chance, the outcomes occur randomly. So we call those random variables. We have two types of random variables. We have a discrete random variable and a continuous random variable. Um, our discrete random variables can either have a finite number of values or an infinite number of values. And we'll look at some examples of that here in a little bit. And then a continuous random variable may assume any numerical value in an interval or collection of intervals. One thing to keep in mind is a discrete random variable can assume a fractional or decimal value, but the values must be separated by having a distance between each value. So here we have an example of a discrete random variable with a finite number of values. So we're at JSL Appliances, and X is going to equal the number of TVs sold at the store in one day. And here, X can only take on 5 values, 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, because the number of televisions that are sold is limited by what they have in stock. Okay, so we can count the number of TVs sold, which makes it a discrete variable, and there's a finite upper limit on the number of TVs that can be sold. Now, at the same store in the same scenario, if we're looking at the number of customers arriving in one day, X could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but there's no finite upper limit on the number of customers that we can have show up on any given day. The other type of random variable that we have are continuous random variables. And continuous random variables are measured with interval or ratio scale, and the likelihood of a continuous random variable can be summarized with a probability distribution, which we'll talk about in our next lecture. So here are some examples of random variables. So family size, X would be the number of dependents reported on the tax return. That's a discrete random variable. That's a counting variable. Distance from home to stores on highway. X is going to be the distance in miles from home to store site. That's a continuous variable because you're not counting those miles. You're actually measuring those miles. And if you're looking at own dog or cat, with X equal 1 is no pet, X equals 2 owns dogs only, X equals 3 is own cats only, and X equals 4 is if dogs and cats, that's going to be a discrete finite variable.